We're gonna show you the 12 valve starter pack from Firepunk diesel. That sounded so bad. I think I stuttered like 4 or 5 times. This is the 12 valve starter pack. And we're gonna show you, the ins and outs of what you need to run a 12 valve on a dyno. You need a roll of pig mat. You need a can of shitty starting fluid. You need a flathead screwdriver. And you need a crescent wrench, because that's about all you need to use on a 12 valve. Hey guys, a little recap on last night. We had the 12 valve on the dyno last night, and we got 2 pulls out of it and had a couple issues. We ended up only making 921 horse, but we have some fuel issues that we're working out with it. So hopefully we can get those figured out tonight and get it back on the dyno running and ready for Florida.
So we got the truck fired over the weekend, so I feel really good about that. Everything seemed to start up just fine. Really just have a lot of little odds and ends to do on it this week, which I know is going to take a lot more time than I expect, but I feel like we're in decent shape for getting on the road on Thursday. We got the truck on the scales this morning. I'm really happy with the results of that. We definitely, we exceeded our expectations on weight loss this year. I think we're going to be racing at about 250 pounds lighter than what we were last year, so the aluminum head and the body panels and a bunch of the little other odds and ends stuff that we did really paid off there. Also our weight bias is a lot better, so we're at about 52% front weight bias now, and that's a lot more manageable than the 57% that we started out with last year. So that should really help us with we didn't have any problem getting the weight transferred on the starting line, but we had a problem keeping the back tires planted. Some of that was probably some inexperience and not knowing how to handle all of that, but the really long wheelbase and the really front heavy weight bias didn't help us any on that at all. So that should be quite a bit better this year.
Let me see that.
What is that?
Well, dude, it's the 4-link bar. It's the upper 4-link support bar.
Yeah,
Hey,
support.
did we weld that?
No.
That's
No.
not very good welding.
No.
I think we might want to do a little bit of rear chassis work to this thing.
Look at this. So the drive shaft kinked. The drive shaft kinked
Look,
and
it's a fucking
completely
steel.
chucked the transmission.
Holy
That is
shit.
crazy. It had 13.
Exploded it.
We just made 1,372 horsepower, and we broke the drive shaft, which in turn grenaded the transmission.
Hey, look, there's a big
Like
case
the
piece.
transmission. Does it make more power than Deutsch's?
George's ass is
We just did 1,372 horsepower. And then there was a loud boom. I thought sure it was the block, but then the engine stayed running nice. And then we saw pieces of transmission and we're like, whoa, we chucked a trans. And then we're like, wait a second. What happened is the drive shaft kinked. It just let go. Which this is has the Suncoast style stubby shaft for a 2-hole drive adapter, which ripped the trans completely in half. It was impressive carnage to say the least.
Hey guys, I'm gonna give you a little rundown on what we broke last night on the dyno. We had the charity case, the 12 valve 590 truck that we have here, and we had a drive shaft come apart last night and it decided to take out a bunch of stuff with it. So if you want to look up here, first we broke the really nice drive shaft loop it had, and then as we came back we found out that it got a little bit worse and it actually snapped some bars in the 4-link. There's a crossbar that goes from here to here, and it actually broke the whole bar out, and then the main bar that holds that supports the 4-link, it bent it up, and it actually bent the one frame support bar, and it bent part of the frame with it. So we're gonna try to get it fixed guess as best as we can and see what it does. So that's more or less what we broke on the truck itself. When the drive shaft came apart, it broke the yoke on the back of the axle, and as you can see, it sheared one of the bolts, and it actually sheared one of the ends of it off too. And when the drive shaft came apart, it took the overdrive section and the transmission, it basically busted the whole case in half.
4.
You're being serious?
Yeah.
Dude, I have said that my entire life, and I never fucking knew that's what that meant. Sorry for my language. But
That's impressive.
no, hoots for. I'm like, what's hoots for? Like,
It's
I don't
good
know.
enough for who it's for.
Yeah, it's good enough for you.
Right.
It's good enough for Connor. It's good enough for the farm.
Connor,
All right, I'm gonna go
Cody
back
just
to
had an epiphany.
That's
So when you say good enough for hoots for,
He
yeah,
now
he did.
knows what it means.
He figured out that one word is now 3 words.
Oh my god. That is terrible. That's not good.
What's hoots for mean, Cody?
Who it's for.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard anybody pause and say who it's for?
No, I just always knew what it meant.
Yeah. I mean,
Right? Okay,
I've
so
never heard
It is,
of that
I mean,
once before.
Dad, Grandpa, whoever would say it would always be like, "Oh, good enough for hoots for." And I'm like, and I was always kind of like, I mean, fuck, I guess hoot must be some guy that, some shitty guy. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's a thing. That's what I thought.
I like it.
Good enough for hoots for.
Well, okay, so who is our hoot?
Yeah, who's our hoot? Who's our hoot? I call it good enough for him.
I don't know. This is the 4-link bar that it knocked out. It actually broke right at the weld, which means that the welds probably didn't have as good a penetration as they should have. This was a truck that was built back in 2005, I believe. But it's kind of impressive. It smacked this thing here and it just literally just broke the notches out. And then you can see this has the Sunco stubby output shaft for a 2-wheel drive conversion with a 4-wheel drive housing, so we can have a billet output. And when that drive shaft kinked, it just ripped everything out. So all the clutches still look new, but everything's broken.
It's the quickest way to install a transmission. You don't even need a lift. It's that easy.
Firepunk way.
So little update on Charity Case. We actually found a couple more things wrong with it than what we initially thought from when it exploded, or well, when the transmission came apart. We got a drive shaft made and a bunch of other stuff, but the more we kind of looked, when the drive shaft came apart, it actually bent part of the frame, the 4-link, just basically with the truck being so new, to us at least, it broke a lot more stuff than we felt comfortable fixing in the time frame that we had. To get it track worthy, there were some other things, just small stuff that we'd found on the dyno that we wanted to change before we take it down the track. So it's not gonna be going to Florida, but when Rudy's comes around, we're gonna get some testing in around here and it'll be on the road hopefully soon. We're gonna get transmission back in it, a new pinion, and try to run it. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. It should be done here hopefully in another week or two. So yeah, be on the lookout for it. So remember the 12-valve starter kit that we had? Well, this is why. Because you need usually about 3 to 4 rolls of this. Because then you have piles of parts like that.